Shabbat Shalom. Another Shabbat has come. I want to ask you something. Who wouldn't want a day off every week? I know I do, and Yehovah has provided that week. It's Shabbat. Let me tell you what Psalms 118:24 says. This is the day Yehovah has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. And that's Psalms 118:24. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this teaching I'm about to do, I'm going to be called a homophobe, whatever phobe they may want to call me. When I did the homosexual teaching, and I showed in Scripture, that's an abomination. It's an abomination. I was called all sorts of names. But you know what? We are Israel, and we're the watchmen, and we're to warn people. We're not part of this world. He doesn't want us to conform to this world, because the Word says so. In Romans 12:2 it says, "And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you prove what is that good and well-pleasing and perfect desire of Elohim." You see, ladies and gentlemen, our world is on a downward spiral. And it's been on a downward spiral ever since the fall of man. Demon activity is exploding. Hostile is becoming more aggressive. No longer does he need to do it in the shadows. Now it's coming to the surface boldly. We as his people must be bold as well. We do this by fasting and meditating on the Torah. The Torah is our instructions. Only by knowing the Torah can you keep from being deceived. Many will teach the demonic doctrine that the Torah has been done away with. Many will pick and choose through these teachings what to keep and throw away. This is exactly playing into Hasatan's hands. You can't pick and choose what you want to keep of the Torah. The Torah is the Torah. And we're to study it, sleep on it, and arise with our mouths with the Torah, with Yehovah, with the Ruach upon us. We're to be doers of the Word, not just hearers. That says in James 1:22. So those people who are picking and choosing and saying the Torah has been done away with, right here, and there's many more scriptures I can go into, but this particular one I want to go into, it's like I said in James 1:22, be doers of the Word. What word is that? It's the Torah. The Word tells us those teaching the Torah has been done away with are teaching doctrines of demons. And I've been called all sorts of names with that as well. How dare you say I'm teaching doctrines of demons? Well, if it doesn't side with if it's not according to the Torah and doesn't line up, it's doctrines of demons. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not going after anybody, any group or anything like that. We've been all guilty of this. But how do you come to the Torah? How do you come to Yehovah? You pray, you fast, you meditate. You let the words of the Torah come out of your mouth. Allow the Ruach HaKodesh to come upon you. Demons are angels under Hasatan's control that used to be heavenly angels. They were cast out with Hasatan and now serve him wholly. It says in 1 Peter 5:8. Be sober, watch, because your adversary the devil walks about like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. In 1 Peter 5:8, like I said. He's coming to devour Yehovah's people. He'll devour anybody. He doesn't want anybody to come to the Father. He doesn't want anybody to know the Torah. He wants to stay ignorant. He wants us to stay blind. Hostile will seek to devour through deception. One of those deceptions is what I'll be talking about this Shabbat. I'll be talking about the demonic world of transgenders. Yes, and I said that. And yes, transgenders will come after me. Gay people will come after me with this teaching. I don't answer to them. We don't answer to no man. We answer only to Yehovah. And this Torah we will be judged on. So I've titled this Transgender. You're not who you think you are. See, you go up to a boy who says he's transgender. Well, I'm not a boy. I'm a girl. Or you can go to a girl. Well, I'm not a girl. I'm a boy. Ladies and gentlemen, ships don't sink because of the water around them. Ships sink because of the water that gets in them. Ladies and gentlemen, the further you get away from this Torah, the more and more you open up yourself to the demons to come in and sink you. And that goes for any of us. We've got to have the full armor of Yehovah on us. A transgender person cannot change genders. That's demonic. You cannot do it. It's impossible. What they're listening to is demons. Here's what it says in Matthew 19:4. And he, answering, said to them, he's speaking to the Pharisees, Yeshua is, did you not read that he who made them, at the beginning, made them male and female? Matthew 19:4. He's quoting the Torah. How do I know that? Because he's quoting Genesis 1:27 and Genesis 5:2. What did Yehovah make? He made a male and female. He made a male and female. He didn't make them transgender. That's demonic thinking if you think you're an opposite sex. You're not. You can mutilate your body all you want. That's your choice. But you are either created male or female. And if you think you're something else, you're listening to demons. We need to keep from speaking reckless words that can pierce like swords, but use the sword to cut through the lies that we've inherited from the father of lies, Hasatan. Ezekiel 33:7 says, and you, son of man, I have made you a watchman for the house of Israel, and you shall hear a word from my mouth, and you shall warn them for me. Ezekiel 33:7. It is our job to warn the people. It is our job to get the Torah out. No other doctrine, the Torah. Not the Christian doctrine, not the doctrines of Judaism with their Taka notes, the Holocaust, their laws, their made-up laws. That's not Torah. We're to be the watchmen. Because see, if we don't warn people, it comes back on us. This is our job. We are to serve Yehovah. We're to be the watchmen. Now, since I'm going to be talking about transgenders, I want to read this part of this article that came out in 2015 by Richard Spillett of Mail Online. Here's what it said. Children as young as 3 should be taught about transgender issues using storybooks about penguins. What do little children like? They like storybooks. Hasatan has no age limit. He'll go after a baby. He'll go after an adult. He'll go after a senior citizen. It doesn't matter to him. Here's how they do it. They want picture books given to nursery children to explain the issue. Books show young penguins who want to be seen as different gender. Here's an example. I wrote one of the examples down. So we will have a party and all your friends will come. We'll tell them you're not Polly and we're really always Tom. A child's mind is like a sponge. It's like a sponge. It absorbs information big time. You have no business teaching this filth, this demonic filth to children. But see, they want to indoctrinate them with this. Oh, it's okay. People are different. Yeah, people are different, but not transgender different. Like I said, and like the Word says, like the Torah says, He made them male and female. But He's trying to confuse, these people are trying to confuse the children. They want to get to them quickly, early, before even 5 years of age. Now, I read this too somewhere. I want to read this to you. I too was once a male trapped in a female body, but then my mother gave birth. Now listen to this. When it goes as far as to a transgender boy, They would stop at this. I too was once a male, trapped in a female body. Boom, they would stop right there. Because they would say, well, you know, my mind and my soul tells me I'm a girl. No. The demons are telling you that. And that's the same for girls who think they're a boy. The demons are telling you that. Some people feel that the sex they were assigned at birth doesn't match their gender identity or the gender that they feel they are inside. You hear that? Feelings. Feel. Emotions. That's what Hasatan goes on. Your emotions. Now, there's a show that's been going on for a few years now, and it's actually gaining steam. It's called I Am Jazz. Jazz, the story of Jazz, and I'll just condense it really quick, was a little boy about, I think about 3, 4, 5 years old, somewhere in that age. Well, he wanted to dress as a girl. He always wanted to dress as a girl. Now, instead of his parents correcting him with this, they enabled it. They dressed him as a girl. They talked to him like a girl. And Jazz, 18 years old now, and had a sex change. In fact, in one of the episodes, and I saw this recently, Jazz admits he was born a biological boy. Now, you see that? He admits he was born a biological boy. He knows he was. However, he says his mind and soul tells him he's a girl. Now, Jazz said he wasn't gay. But get this. He had a boyfriend, kissing all over him, hugging him and all that. Telling his mother he's not gay. Well, a boy kissing a boy or a girl kissing a girl in a romantic fashion, you're gay. You're in denial. You see, you open those doors, like the ship. You got a hole in there. You're opening that hole and allowing the demons to come in. What a boy will say is, don't call me a boy, I'm now a girl. A girl will say, don't call me a girl, I'm now a boy. For transgender men and women, the physiological traits that distinguish them as male or female don't conform to how they feel about themselves. Remember, we're not to conform to this world. We're not to be part of this world as far as that goes. And that's why the world will hate us. That's why they hate Israel. Because we're not part of this world. We're part of Yehovah's children. And again, what did I say? The feelings. How they feel about themselves. Feelings. Here's what Yehovah says in Proverbs 3:5. Trust in Yehovah with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. You don't trust your heart. You don't trust you. Well, I know what's best for me. No, none of us know what's best for us. What's best for us is this right here, the Torah. You see, ladies and gentlemen, Yeshua says, no one's gone to the Father but through Him. There's only one way to the Father, and that's through Yeshua. And like I said, when I read that earlier, and he was talking to the Pharisees, he said it was created male and female. Who's our refuge? Yehovah's our refuge. My refuge and my stronghold. My Elohim, in whom I trust. We don't trust ourselves. You don't trust a man, period. The only one you trust is Yehovah. And that's Psalms 91:2, by the way. Some have undergone sex reassignment, surgery or hormone therapy to make their biological and gender identities match. Jazz recently had this done, by the way. Oh, by the way, I saw a commercial here last day or two. Jazz has now gained 100 pounds. Okay? Jazz can cut off his private part. That's his choice. But he's still a boy no matter what. And they gave him a female part. That's demonic, ladies and gentlemen. And his parents enabled that. Not only did his parents enable that, the doctors enabled that. The doctors, what they did was demonic. They didn't help this young man out. They just reinforced it. These physicians are of the devil who do this type of surgery. Instead of saying, no, I will not do it. See, the great physician's prescription is this. Must be Torah-centered, must be Ruach HaKodesh-filled, must be devoted to prayer and fasting, must be Messiah-centered. Why? Because the Torah is our protection, correction, direction, and salvation. Baruch Hashem. What does the Word say is truth? And I've had people tell me that. Well, you know, the Bible's truth. No, tell me, it tells you what truth is. And what? Psalms 119, 142. Your righteousness is righteousness forever, and your Torah is truth. Now here's what I'll be talking about tonight. Schools' demonic indoctrination. And by the way, that's happening around. That's been in the news, and I'll talk about that, this school in Virginia later on. What words transgenders want to be called by. What does it mean to transition? Top 5 reasons you can't change your gender. How do transgender people transition? 10 reasons why transgenderism is of the Sitra Hara, the dark forces. The push for LGBTQ civil rights. And transgender suicide statistics. The suicide rate among transgenders is higher than the average, ladies and gentlemen. People that choose to identify as male or female, regardless of their anatomy, is irrational and demonic. It has no basis in reality. Like a schizophrenic who hears voices of the demons, so too are the transgenders and the demons they're hearing. They're hearing demons. They're not hearing Yehovah. They're not hearing the Ruach HaKodesh. They're hearing demons because they're allowing the demons to come into them. Remember what I said about Jazz. He is listening to demons. Not only is he listening to demons, but his mom and dad as well. And so are the doctors. Anyone who is enabling this. Counselors that are enabling this. And I'll talk about some professionals that are enabling this. They're listening to doctrines of demons. Males who believe they are female trapped in a male body, and females who think they're males trapped in a female body are no different than the schizophrenic. The voices they hear are not from the Ruach, but from the Sitra Hara. Those who believe they are in the wrong body or have a wrong gender and who wish to have these transgender procedures are under demonic delusion. How do I know that? The Word talks. You know, if you don't want to learn the Torah, you don't want to follow Torah, you don't want to walk in the Torah, the Heavenly Father will send a delusion. See, the Torah has every answer to every question you want to know concerning this. The coming of the lawless one is according to the working of Hasatan, with all power and signs and wonders of falsehood, lies, and with all deceit of unrighteousness in those perishing, because they did not receive the love of the truth in order for them to be saved. And for this reason, Elohim sends them a working of delusion. For them to believe the lies. 2 Thessalonians 2, 9, 11. They don't want to hear it. Leave me alone with this. Leave me alone with this. I don't want to hear it. Well, if you don't want to hear this, you put this over here. Guess what's coming in? The demons. And speaking of being delusional, so-called experts are advising parents. Here's what they're advising them. They're not helping. They're crippling them. They're enabling them. If your child expresses a desire to identify differently from their sex assigned at birth, you should respect and support their desire to explore. Respect. Support their desire to explore. So encourage it. This is what a professional is saying. Run. Run. You don't want to be around people like that. This guy, this man or woman that are saying these things, they're of the demonic world. They're not of the Torah world, of Yehovah. Here's another one. Parents and guardians should work with therapists and healthcare providers to plan the transition. So here's what Jazz did. Went to a therapist, talking to a therapist about his concerns, his depression, his anxieties. The therapist gives some advice. He goes to a doctor. The doctor takes x-rays of the parts, makes suggestions. You need to take estrogen, which is female hormones. And I'm going to help you transition is what the healthcare person will say. And that's what Jazz did. And Jazz just recently, not too long ago, within the last 6 months, had his private parts taken off and had a female part put on. Has boobs because he's filled up with estrogen. And now he's 100 pounds overweight. Now, here's what some parents say that are not just Jazz's parents, but other parents that I've read about. Wayne Maines, a parent of a transgender son. In the 5th grade, we let Nicole, he changed his name by the way, change her name. She went to school in a dress and we saw a new child. She was happy, engaged, and excited about school. There were no more anger issues, no more self-harm. Ladies and gentlemen, that's big time damage you're doing to a child. You just open the floodgates of demons into that child. You think that child's happy? You're not happy if you're of this world. You're not happy if you're not following the Torah. You're not happy if you're not following Yehovah. You're not happy if you don't say you're Messiah, that Yeshua is your Messiah, the King. You're not happy. You're fooling yourself. Again, Yehovah will send a delusion. If you don't accept Yehovah, you don't accept our King Yeshua, I'll blind you. Now, here's another parent. Peter Chiorik, a parent of a 7-year-old transgender son. Waiting to transition was not an option we cared anything about. Our son's health, the despair he went through, was not manageable. But when he did transition, it was like a light switch. We had a happy, healthy kid, and it has been that way ever since. 4 years and counting. You're not to enable your children. They are not the opposite sex. Whether you have a son that wants to transition or a daughter that wants to transition, you're teaching your child demonic doctrine. What does the Word say we're to teach our children? It tells us in Deuteronomy 6:6-7, we're to teach the children the Torah. This is your shield. This is your full armor right here. Okay? And I'll have people tell me after this teaching, I know I will, oh, you're homophobic. You're transphobic. Whatever phobic. Well, let me tell you something. I'm backing this up with the Torah. If you're calling me a phobia, a homophobe or whatever, then you're calling the Father the same thing, and you're calling the Father a liar. Because He made you male or female. He made male and female. Either you're born a male or you're born a female. Nothing else. And these healthcare workers, they use puberty blockers. You know, when you go through puberty, the male, grows hair and deeper voice and other things, and a female, boobs, and other things. And I'm not going to get into everything. They block that. They stop that. They stop what Yehovah created them to be. They're enablers. They're demons. They're demonic. They're working for the devil. Healthcare workers many times will use reversible medications to stop puberty, commonly called puberty blockers. According to so-called experts, puberty suppressing medications can drastically improve these children's lives. Do you hear the commonality? It can improve these children's lives. It's not improving their lives. It's getting them closer to the demons. It's getting them farther away from Yehovah. Hasatan will use every possible way to communicate his evil thoughts into your heart and your mind. And that's what he's doing with these children. That's what he's doing with the parents. That's what he's doing with the counselors. And that's what he's doing with the healthcare workers in these hospitals. This demonic filth loves to quote the Torah out of context. Hasatan especially loves to twist the literal words of Yehovah and give them allegorical or other non-literal meanings. This angel of death and the demons that perpetuate this lie use little careless statements, such as, it really means this instead of what he actually said. Or, this is an allegory and should be interpreted this way. Or, that was a cultural style that the scripture, and it does not mean that today. Such methods are nothing but slick ways that devils have fellowship with unsuspecting people. And you people who are doing this, enabling this, are unsuspecting, you're delusional, you're blind, you don't know what you're talking about, you know what you're doing. The only thing that brings happiness to us, any of us, should be the Torah. The only happiness you're ever going to get is through the Torah. Any other doctrine you listen to is doctrines of demons. Okay? When a child is born, a doctor says, it's a boy or it's a girl. The parents know the sex of their child. There's not a wide range of genders. There are two genders and a wide range of mental disorders. Okay? That's what there's a wide range of. Mental disorders. Two genders. Everything else, you say something else, you got a problem. You really have a problem. And you don't realize it because the Father sent a delusion on you. He's made you blind because you want to stay blind. Here's what it says in Genesis 1:27. And Elohim created the man in his image. In the image of Elohim, he created him. Male and female. He created them. What did I say? What did Yehovah say? Male and female. Not transgender. You're destroying what Yehovah created in you. And the man said, this is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. This one is called woman, because she was taken out of man. For this causes a man shall leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. Genesis 2:23-24. So he shall leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife. If Jazz gets married, he's going to marry a male. He's not cleaving to his wife. What they'll say in the homosexual community, or even transgender community, that's my husband. Husband and husband. Two women, two lesbians. Wife and wife. Or my partner, they'll say. But as you can see, over and over again, he says he created male and female. Okay? Like I said before, Yeshua, when he was talking to the Pharisees, in Matthew 19:4, he said at the beginning made them male and female. Like I said, he's quoting the Torah. So those of you say that the Torah's been done away with and you pick and choose what you went out there, you're hypocrites if you're doing that. You're a hypocrite and a liar. You can't pick and choose. You can't say it's done away with and you do some of this. Well, that's Torah. But you said Torah was done away with. You said it was done away with. So why are you doing this if you said, see? Now, remember I talked about the schools, and I'm going to go more and more into this. But I want to read this one. This happened in New Hampshire. A New Hampshire high schooler allegedly suspended for saying there are only two genders. Sue's school district. He said there was two genders, male and female. Okay? What happened to him? Here's what happened to him when he said that. This is why he's suing the school district. Excuse me. The student is alleging that the school violated his free speech and religious liberties. You can't even speak up. Children are trying to speak up, believe it or not. They really are. But they get kept. There's only two genders, male and female. And he said some other things. They weren't happy with it. Let me tell you something. You can't drink the cup of the master and the cup of demons. You are not able to partake of the table of the master and of the table of demons. 1 Corinthians 10:2. You either serve Yahweh or you're serving the demons. All these people I talked about are serving demons. They're serving demons that enable these children, like Jazz, to go through with this. You should respect their feelings and encourage it. That's a professional. That's a professional demon. So they want schools. Now listen to this. And I read this too. So they want schools to teach LGBTQ history. I tell you what. Let them teach that. Here's where they should start. Sodom and Gomorrah. That's where you start. You want to teach that? Start with Sodom and Gomorrah. And we know how that turned out. There's no such thing as a human sex change. If one is born a male, they die a male. If one is born a female, they die a female. This is a biological fact. Class dismissed. Period. Have you ever been addicted to something? It owns you because you allow it to own you. Whether it's drugs, gambling, lust of the flesh, transgenderism, homosexuality, it owns you because you let it own you. You open that door, you open the floodgates like the ship and allow the demons to come into you. Have you ever noticed when you put a coffee bean in a boiling water, it changes the water? In fact, the longer the coffee bean is in the boiling water, the stronger it gets. Like the changing of the water by the coffee bean, you have the power to change yourself, both mentally and more importantly, spiritually. You have to change the way you think, one step at a time. And I've said this in other teachings, and I will keep reiterating this. Watch your thoughts, they become words. Watch your words, they become action. Watch your actions, they become habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character, they become your destiny. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't watch these things, you're going to the Sitra Hara, that side of it, you're going to have eternal separation from the Father. I'm letting you know right now.